Right, welcome to an exciting episode of the Let's Chat series. The Tata Tigor EV electric sedan has just been launched and it has been well received by the EV community. Today we are lucky to have with us the Vice President of the Passenger Electric Vehicles Division at Tata Motors, Mr. Anand Kulkarni. Welcome, Anandji.
Thank you, and good afternoon to all of you.
Right. So let's start. Anandji, this is Tata's third EV product, and we spoke last before the launch of the Nexon EV. The Ziptron technology seemed to be really great, and we've experienced it, and we'll assure you that it's something that's really done up quite well. So Nexon has done well, and what is very, very interesting is the seriousness with which Tata has taken electric vehicles. So very quick update. We expect real world range to be about 200 kilometers. This is our expectation. And the battery pack is 26 kWh. Charging is kind of the same as Nexon. Prices are about 12, 12 and a half and 13 lakhs for the three versions which have been declared. Subsidy, we'll kind of find out whether that includes subsidy or not. Okay, so Anandji, first question is going to be obviously about the battery pack because we thought it was more of a transplant of the Nexon setup to the Tigor, and we were kind of disappointed with the 4 kWh reduction, which obviously means a range reduction of probably 10-15%.
No, so Atulji, Faraji, you should not be disappointed. In fact, the battery is meant for a purpose, and the purpose is to be able to have good traction, and the purpose is to have a decent enough range. You know what we need to also appreciate is that while the battery is smaller, the weight of the car is also lesser. So the Tigor is a lighter car, lighter by almost about 200 kilograms, which means that we don't need as much battery to propel it and to derive the same amount of range. The second aspect is that the Tigor is a smaller format car. When you say smaller format car, it means that the aerodynamics play is different, and therefore you don't need as much energy for the same thing. As a result of which, even though on paper you may find that the battery power is about 4 kilowatt hour lesser, which is roughly about 12 to 13%, it really does not translate into a similar drop in terms of the range. So the Nexon EV gets a range of 312 kilometers as per the ARAI certified value, whereas the Tigor EV is at 306 kilometers, which is pretty similar. And in real life, you would therefore find that of course, this range issue is very sensitive one, and it is subject to a lot of ifs and buts. But I think we should be looking forward to a range of around 220, 230 kilometers in real life under any condition. And in some cases, like Plug-in India users have been posting regularly, achieving a range of 250 kilometers also should not be a difficulty.
Okay, so that's nice. Just one small question. If you look at the coefficient of drag, how does the Nexon compare with the Tigor? Because you mentioned about aerodynamics, so just a kind of curiosity that we had.
So coefficient of drag on the Nexon EV, I wouldn't be able to tell you out the numbers because this is something that we have not released. But I would only like to tell you that from a traditional perspective, SUVs are more butch design. They are higher in stance. Sedans tend to be lower in stance and smaller format also. They tend to be more aerodynamic. So the level of coefficient of drag on a sedan is definitely going to be an advantageous situation.
So translating into watt hours per kilometer. So I just returned from a trip to Nasik on the Nexon, and I averaged about 110, 120 watt hours per kilometer. Right, very seated driving, not air conditioned, etc. So if I were to take the Tigor out on a similar drive, what kind of would the figures I will obviously will be lower than that, right? What percentage?
Yes,
lower
yes. I wouldn't be surprised if you stay within double digits.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Okay, so you already found one fan now, waiting to kind of get my hands on. And by the way, I've already got one order for the car for you, right?
Wonderful.
So,
Thank you so much. Lovely.
okay, so let's move on. So we know about the ecosystem. The curb weight, you mentioned is about 200 kgs less, Anandji. But I'm a bit confused. So 1400 kg is what the Nexon weighs. So this is less than 1200 kg, or what's the
No, to be precise, this is at 1235 kilograms.
correct? So, and the Nexon is at 1400 kg, right?
You are right. The Nexon is at a
About
1400.
165 kg difference in terms
Yeah.
of the actual this
Yeah.
thing.
To be precise, yes, that is the level.
Right. I started my career with Tata Motors many years ago. I was a graduate trainee engineer in 1990. Stayed there for a couple of years. One of the things which people would lament as customers, was कि Tata की गाड़ी कभी पहले साल में नहीं खरीदनी चाहिए. So there are a lot of apprehensions that common Janta has had over the years with Tata Motors not getting it right the first time. Now, since it's more of a heart transplant or a kind of powertrain transplant that you're doing from the Nexon, what have been the learnings from the Nexon that you've been able to translate into the Tigor?
Yeah. So first of all, I want to address the statement that you made कि टाटा की गाड़ी पहले लेनी नहीं चाहिए. I think there was a period in the past where this kind of a statement would have held true. But if you look at our range of new forever cars today, and with all the work that has gone into it, I think none of our cars, whether it is in the ICE world or in the EV world, suffer from that syndrome any longer. And the success in the market is a testimony to the fact that the cars are significantly better. They are well designed. They are durable, so on and so forth. So, having said that, I want to come back to the real question that you have asked, which is about how have the learnings been implemented. And Atulji, if you remember, there have been a series of discussions. We have been talking to customers. We've been soliciting feedback, and all of this has gone into improving, for example, the levels of regen. And you would recall in the Nexon EV, the first release, we had tried to work out on a single pedal drive. And we saw that for people who were trying to adapt to a new technology in an Indian traffic situation, it may not have been the most ideal settings. So we quickly modified that. We also reduced the amount of regen for free coasting on the actual highways. And we learned that there could be efficiencies that could be harnessed from that. So all of these improvements have already gone in. Secondly, there were some error states because of the infrastructure that was there, because of the interaction of the car with the infrastructure, and all of those have been ironed out because we've collected data, we've analyzed the data, we've looked at it, and as we were improving upon the Nexon EV, the Tigor EV was automatically getting benefited because the learnings were applied laterally. Thirdly, everything about the protocols, the battery cooling, or the climate comfort within the car, all of these aspects were also looked at in a double sure manner to make sure that everything was absolutely right. And those benefits have also been passed on to the Tigor EV right from day one. So I think all in all, it is a wonderful package. It's a package that we are happy about. We've looked at all the use cases, including the feedback that we have collected over the last 35 million kilometers on the Nexon EV. And the Tigor EV has been scrutinized, tested, validated for all of these aspects, and is therefore a product which is ready to take on whatever rigors that it is subjected to.
Just one observation over here. So we had the opportunity of laying our hands in one of your sibling cars, the Jaguar I-Pace, a few weeks ago. And I'm not obviously making comparisons with a car which is priced 10 times the amount. But a couple of things which I liked, which I thought you could have probably incorporated. So one was the idea, the ability to set the level of regen. So you had a low and a high kind of an option, which I would have been very happy if we were able to do that, because it's only a software thing. And the second thing, that I liked, Anandji, was the placement of the gear. So just sharing this feedback with you, because so when you're in a crowded street and you want to take a U-turn, it's very time consuming, the knob thing structure. Whereas if you look at the linear thing in the Jaguar, the feedback is instantaneous. So you're like front and reverse fast, you know. So I don't know, maybe obviously not for this particular thing, but in future, if you could just keep that in mind, if you standardize, because I think the EV industry will move towards standards, and I would put my money on that standard, which is also your company in a way, right? So
Sure.
that's one.
No,
Okay.
definitely.
Another thing that we are looking at is when do we get to see frunks in Tata Motor vehicles, right? So we have a small one because we could have the spare wheel coming in over there and get something into the dicky, because that's a problem that I'm sure a lot of people are going to be complaining about when they actually get their hands on their cars. So any plans on that?
Frunks are an interesting concept, but at least in terms of the cars that we do today, I do not know the reference cars that you have in mind when you spoke about the frunks, but they are all rear-wheel driven cars, and they almost always have a certain configuration of the floor and a certain configuration of the battery to go alongside that. It would mean a significant re-engineering to the entire thing, and we could look at it provided it gives us the necessary advantages. Also, how difficult is it to engineer a front car from a crash worthiness perspective is another area that we need to look at. Safety has been one of our important pillars. So it's an interesting concept, but something that I may not be able to give you a very clear answer as of now.
So at the very minimum, Anand ji, charging cable तो उसमें डालने की जगह दे दीजिए, Jaguar types.
Okay, feedback taken.
Okay. Coming on to again the watt hours per kilometer, which is a very favorite for Plug-in India channel. We know that there are certain tires. For example, the Prius used to have low rolling resistance tires. So is that because what you've done is it's kind of you've standardized whatever you have for the IC engine and you kind of rolled on the same thing. So is there any thinking about getting slightly lower resistance tires in place for future models?
It's a good question, and this is something that hasn't been addressed in our detailed briefing. But the Tigors do get ultra low rolling resistance tires. So the rolling resistance now is at 7.2 Newton per ton, which is a measure of how much it is, and they are already 10% better as compared to some of the other products that we have. And therefore, you would see that as a matter of efficiency, we are absolutely cutting edge in terms of the low rolling resistance tires or the resistance on the tires that we are able to offer at the moment.
Great. Okay, so coming towards the end, a couple of questions about the software. So the first script that we've had from Nexon users is about the time that it takes to put on the vehicle, and the fact that you have to push the button maybe 2 times, sometimes 3 for the vehicle to start. So is there not something which can be addressed, because it's a little bit of an irritation factor that and we've seen other cars or maybe in scooters like Ather, etc., who are doing it much better. So is this a concern that the Tigor has addressed, or would you plan to address this in the future?
I'm sure, Atulji, that this must have been a specific case, and I would love to go back to this specific case and understand. But this is not a feedback that we have from a lot of our users, and I will look into this. But otherwise, I think you will find in the Tigor EV that this kind of a thing, this error state, if at all it was there, is eliminated.
No, it's not an error state. Just to be precise, there is an IGN mark that comes on the Nexon when you press it, and then you go press that once more, and then that IGN goes away, and then you kind of. So at least you end up with 2.
So you're talking about the protocol or the startup sequence.
Correct.
So
Correct.
Yeah, so there is a reason for the startup sequence to be in the way that it is. You are right. We could probably look at reducing the time intervals, and we are looking at it to see how it can be improved.
Okay. Now the other thing is, so I'll share one experience that I had where I had to go to the service station. There was a problem with the BMS software, right? And of course, not too many users have faced it, but there has been a significant number of users. So is there a way that we could have an OTA release kind of a thing, so that we don't need to go to the dealership all the way. It's about 20 kilometers from my house, so going 40 kilometers. So OTA, any possibility of that coming on board?
So we've had this discussion on the OTA earlier also. I think with the level of connectivity and the connectivity drops that we have and the security that we need to build in, we haven't engaged the OTA right now, but we continue to monitor how it can be done. And at the right time, when we are satisfied about the security of the car as well as the ability of the car to make sure that the drops are done properly, we will definitely look at OTA updates so that these difficulties are taken care of.
Okay. So,
right.
Yeah, that's it from our side. Thank you so much. We're really looking forward to getting the car with us. I hope Sunday we are kind of going to get that experience, and really lovely thing. I hope that I will end up being a customer myself, maybe in the years to come. Thank you so much, Anandji, for being with us today.
Thank you. It was lovely again talking to both of you. And do let us know about the feedback once you have driven the cars, and I will look forward to that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.